I'm Scott Allen Miller. It is the 15th of October, 2021. Welcome to the Sheep Guarding Llama Vlog. Buenos dias! So today, which is Friday, first of all, is the first time that I went to Cholitos, but I will get to that later. Just had to mention it as I walked past. So today ended up being, I thought it was going to be a very slow day. I didn't have a lot on the calendar. I had a few like little things. Everything I had on my calendar got pushed off, and my day ended up just big, emotionally draining meetings all day long. Just work, emotionally draining, not even bad things, just people who don't listen, and it's frustrating when your job is to give advice and do analysis, and people give emotional reactions like, well, I'm not comfortable with math, and I don't really enjoy logic, right? Very frustrating things when I do a career that is nothing but logic and math. It's a little bit like being an automotive safety engineer, and every customer comes back to you and says, well, I just don't feel good about seatbelts. I don't care about how many lives they save. I don't care how obviously they're good for me. I just don't feel good about it, and therefore I'm not gonna do it, right? It's, yeah. Which, of course, I mentioned living in Central America where people don't wear seatbelts. Anyway, so my day was very heavily just dealing with that kind of stuff with customers and emergency calls and having to jump into things with no warning and shuffle things around. And we had another employee leave us today, which is hardly a crippling one. He was relatively new and not a critical part of any team, but now we have to replace him, and it's just more shuffling. And it'd be nice to have a little bit of stability, but that's how things are. This is, so as I said, it's Friday, so we're getting really close to our travel. We actually start our travel back to the United States on Monday, right? So we're at 3 days. Yesterday, they got the luggage out of the bodega for us and put it in our bedroom so that Dominica could go through and decide what luggage we wanted to take with us. So our bedroom is just completely full of luggage, which is a little bit tough. It's hard to move around. Tomorrow on Saturday, we have not too much scheduled during the day. We have a lasagna and cheesecake dinner party at Alan and Saeed's scheduled in the evening, and then all of us are going to Leon to go to Via Via, where Saeed is doing a rum tasting, and I am going to try to take the cameras with me and start filming. We are working on a new project that starts today. Hopefully I will be able to tell you about it very soon. What's interesting is now that I'm doing these videos and posting them in the future with a really stable, we'll see how long this lasts, but a stable day-by-day posting, you'll actually be seeing this once I'm in the United States in Los Estados Unidos. But so that's tomorrow. Sunday, I don't even know what the plans are. Monday, we have to leave for Managua because of COVID, right? If you're watching this in the future and don't remember that the COVID thing is going on, we have to get to Managua and get our test done, get that certified with the government so that we're able to leave, and get it certified with the United States so we're able to enter. Yes, we have to have a test to leave and a test to enter. Same test, but we have to submit it multiple places and deal with just all of our exit stuff, right? Because officially on the books, we are exiting the country on this particular route. This is a change of residency officially to Nicaragua. So we are flying out, and then when we return in 2 weeks, it will reset our visa and our process starts again at the beginning, which is handy. We don't have to deal with a lot of paperwork for quite some time, and hopefully our other paperwork will be well underway at that point and make everything easy. So we'll see if all of that actually plays out and is true, but that is the game plan. So busy. That is Monday. Tuesday, we actually get our flights to Miami, and then I believe it is Wednesday when we finally get our flights to New York. We will be in New York when you see this video, because I try to post them roughly 1 week out, which gives me a lot of flexibility for like being able to tell you things that would be a surprise and keeping everything flowing in a really good way. So I'm liking this schedule. It's a little bit long because it does make it that if I have major life updates, I still have to tell everyone what's going on. They can't just watch the video to get the latest. I could, in theory, post little things really quickly, but in general, it works pretty well for most everyone. And thanks to all the viewers, we're up to like 128 subscribers now, I think. And that's just amazing. The number of people who are watching each video just goes up and up every time. It's still not a lot, but it's, wow, it's really cool. So anyway, originally Saeed and I had scheduled to do some work at 3 o'clock today to get to work on our new project. But I was so busy, I wasn't able to coordinate much with him today. So he decided to go to Leon to get his hair cut. So right about that time, I was actually able to get some free time, and Dominica was going to bake the cheesecake for tomorrow, so I came down with her to Saeed and Alan's house and hung out for several hours. While she made the cheesecake, Alan and Anna had a pool party. We didn't feel like getting in the pool, but we had beers and hung out. Throughout the day, I had had a little bit of time to video game with the girls. We had squeezed in where we could, playing a Nancy Drew game, right? Which I'll get to the details of that in a minute. But so we hung out, and then when it was dinner time, I wasn't really feeling like I wanted dinner, so we came down and went to Cholitos, because they had built the rancho this week, which I got on film a few times, brand new rancho, and it just opened today, and I was like, we're gonna be the first ones to use it. I don't know if that's actually true, but we came down, Alan and Anna and I, and we got some maestras, cervezas, and hung out for a little bit while they were waiting for their dinner at El Simple. I didn't feel like dinner, so when we came back, they went to dinner. I just went and hung out with the kids and the dogs. And the kids have been doing great with Minerva, the new cat. They've been going back and forth all, you know, like every hour, going in to check on the cat that's been in their room. And anytime that I'm not like gaming with them or something, they go up to their room and just hang out with Minerva. But they were doing great at keeping an eye on her, even though they didn't get a lot of sleep last night, maybe none, because she kept them up all night. But she's moved from completely hiding under the bed to actually letting them hold her by the end of the day. Okay, so those are all my non-hanging out with the kids activities. Then for actually hanging out with the kids today, we have been trying to figure out what we're going to play for Nancy Drew, because we've been playing a bit recently, but a lot of the early games we have skipped. We played through the first game a number of years ago, and the second one is not available. The third one we tried a very long time ago, a couple of years, and Liesl found it very boring. And this is kind of a thing she gets from her mother. Dominica will put in an unbelievable amount of time binging a television series or something, and then give up and refuse to watch the last 2 or 3 episodes, even though she may have watched 80 to get to that point. She doesn't want to quite commit to finishing for whatever reason. Like, she just gets bored just before it wraps up. The whole like calm before the storm in a storyline thing tends to make her lose interest. So this actually happened to Liesl. We played to within 10 minutes. So a normal Nancy Drew game may take about 8 hours, between 4 and 8 hours. This one's a little bit shorter. I think it's more like 3. We probably played 2 hours and 45 minutes. Got through all the tough puzzles but one, and she had given up. And for 2 years, I couldn't get her to play, and so we never went back and played any of the old games. So this time, I controlled it a lot, and we raced through it as fast as we could, and we completed it. So this was episode kind of is game number 3 in the series, which is the second oldest one that's currently available, which is the Message in the Haunted Mansion. I actually like the story quite a bit. You go to a Victorian mansion in San Francisco. You're dealing with hidden gold bullion from a bank robbery in the 1800s, hidden in an old house. It's a good story, right? Like, it's well done, and it, like many Nancy Drews, it teaches a few things: history and culture, and a little bit of adventure, a little bit of science. Certainly one of the old games, certainly one of the short ones, but I actually like it quite a bit. I'm not sure why she got bored with it, other than maneuvering around the house was really awkward. And so when you're controlling, it is frustrating. You're like, I don't want to go back to that other location again. It's so many clicks in such an awkward way. It takes a lot of the fun out of it. I think they fixed that in later games. But anyway, this has been kind of a stumbling block to us being able to really fluidly move through the series. So I'm glad we went back and got it. Everybody feels good about it. I now have my spreadsheet that tracks the games that we've done, went in, knocked it off. So now we solidly have the first 3 done. We are ready to start the 4th one. Oh, these also had the complication that they're not on Steam, they're on Big Fish. Because at least at the time that we bought them, Steam didn't have them. I'm not sure if Steam has them now, but we have them on Big Fish. Big Fish is a big pain to download games and to find them and to load them, and so it's just not built for people with large game libraries, and it doesn't interface with other things well. And it doesn't work here. You have to use a VPN to be able to download the games you bought, which is not really good. But so that's not good on them. That's kind of illegal. You bought it. They should not be making determinations about who's allowed to keep using something that they own. It's not like a streaming service or anything. But we got it downloaded and working, and now we have the next two are also from Big Fish. So we are ready to start. I don't think we're going to start tomorrow because we've done a lot of Nancy Drew. 4 completed games in 4 days. How cool is that? But the next one we're probably not going to start until we are back from the United States. That's my guess. While we're in the United States, we are partway through, maybe halfway. One of the decently old ones, I believe it's number 6, which is the Haunted Carousel. They've been playing with their cousins, and so we're really hoping that, and we were playing it, I believe, last October, so exactly a year ago. We're hoping this time we go back and are able to finish it and knock that one out with their cousins, because their cousins really like Nancy Drew too. Maybe we can convince them to do a bit of Nancy Drew, but they have school, so finishing half of one will be itself quite an accomplishment. But the girls are now committed. They say we all feel good about starting at the oldest and just working our way through rather than hopping around, which is what we've been doing for quite some time. Yeah, so that was our day. We ended up playing until about 1 o'clock in the morning, but we really wanted to complete that one. I didn't want it hanging over our heads. I didn't have to think about it anymore. I wanted to turn the line green on the spreadsheet and just be done with it after all these years. And now we only have a few on the list that we are in progress on, and like we started Danger on Deception Island, but we're only 10 minutes into it, so starting over on that, no big deal. Haunted Carousel, of course, and then the other ones are some of the new ones, and again, one of them was a Big Fish. One of the other problems with Big Fish is that it doesn't save your progress from machine to machine. Steam, we can save and move machines or whatever. Big Fish, you have to start over, and so we used to play them all on the laptop. So any game we were playing, we have to start at the beginning, which isn't the worst thing because you forget what the stories are about. Nancy Drew kind of all runs together if you're not careful. So, really awesome week of video gaming. It's been a lot of fun. I think we all feel really good about suddenly making so much progress. We're through like a dozen games to completion now within the series. Maybe it's 14, but I think it's a dozen. So this was a third of them knocked off in this last week, but a couple of them we had been pretty heavily in progress on. And Scarlet Hand, which we finished last night, was the oldest of the Nancy Drew games that we got from our original purchase with Steam back in the day when we lived in Nicaragua in 2015. The first time we ever saw Nancy Drew games, and they were on sale, and we bought a huge pack of them, like 15 games or something at the time, maybe more. But they didn't have the oldest ones. The oldest, I think, 5 were not available, maybe 6. And so we started with Secret of the Scarlet Hand because that was the oldest one that they had. And it wasn't the girls that started playing it because they were too young at the time. It was Dominica and I who played it. And again, she got bored partway through and never wanted to actually finish it. Turns out we were somewhere around 80% done with it. And just that last bit, you can't get it done. These things frustrate me a lot because when I was a kid, I could never bring myself to finish games, but not because I got bored and didn't want to put in the time, but because I would always get stuck. There were no walkthroughs, there were no helps, there was no online anything because there was no internet. And so a lot of times I couldn't finish games because I would get stuck on something stupid and have no idea what to do. King's Quest, Bard's Tale. Once in a while, I'd be able to complete a game like the Fairy Tale Adventure, and they really stuck in my memory as games that I really loved because while they were hard and took a lot of effort and a lot of time, I completed them. And it's a sense of accomplishment, and you got the whole story. Bard's Tale, I have no idea what the end of the story was because I never got to see the final scene. I was ready for the final battle. All of my characters were maxed out. I could wipe out any enemy in the game without blinking, but I couldn't get to the final battle because of a glitch, at least as it was reported at the time. And that was it. I had 300 hours in on an old RPG and could not get to the very end. really frustrating. But yeah, so I'm really glad that we are finishing the games now and making some real progress. I will see all of you tomorrow on Saturday for our rum tasting day, and hopefully some really good video from that.